then this, up, then this, up, then this. Okay, hello. Good day, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for finding this video, for finding my channel, and for tuning in. I want to make a video, and I'm not going to say quick or short. I'm not really going to set the expectation. We'll just see what happens. So I wanted to, I have a whole board in my room of topics to make videos about. I looked at the board, and out of the 30 plus things that I wrote down one day to talk about over time, none of them spoke to me today. I was like, I don't want to talk about any of this today. I don't want to talk about any of it. And so then I'm like, what do I want to talk about? And I had therapy yesterday, and in therapy, this is what I'm going to talk about, is what we kind of talked about in my therapy yesterday. I'm going to move that stuff that's behind me because it's going to drive me crazy otherwise. Hold on. Okay, I'm back, y'all. So I wanted to talk about procrastination and perfection. So, and I didn't do a lot of preparation for this here video. I did not take any time to find any scientifically backed evidence. I didn't take time to do anything, okay? All I did was I wrote this little picture that I'm gonna show y'all. I drew that out, the thought process that's happening in my mind, and I wanna share it with you all in hopes of maybe giving you something to either think about and a little bit of liberation, freedom from what might be holding you back, because it was holding me back, okay? And I'm gonna say is, and I'm also gonna say was, because you know, I don't know what tomorrow holds, okay? Every day is different. So yeah, we'll see. But I say that because, let me tell you this, I procrastinate a lot. I'm gonna tell you the story, and then we're gonna get into the thought process. I procrastinate a lot. And you know, I could be considered one of those people who, I won't say this, but I could be one of those people who says, I do my best work when it's up to the deadline, right? I'm not gonna say that, but I'm not gonna deny that I'm not gonna deny whether or not I've said it before in the past, okay? So I finished, I had a big project that was due. I turned it in. I turned in like several assignments at the last minute, which is consistent with my lifespan. And so that's been consistent with my lifespan. And it wasn't really until yesterday when I went through the thought process, and I texted my group chat on WhatsApp, and I was like, man, I'm so glad that we had the deadline, because if it wasn't for the deadline, I just never would have finished the project. Some people are just fine without having deadlines. Some people start on their projects like the day that it's assigned and work on it. And I always have a great plan. I always, will write. I love order. Okay. And so I love to look at the calendar and put everything out equally distributed. I like to be like, okay, I have 60 days to get this project done. So that means that if I divide that out, 60 days, take out the weekends, that's going to leave me with like, I don't know, 52 days. It'll leave me with 52 days. So then if I take 52 and divide that by this many pages, then I only need to read a little bit per day, and I only need to write a little bit per day, right? I need to only write this many words per day, right? Like, that's how detailed and ordered and structured I love. But then, the first day happens, and then it's a lot, and then I'm like, okay, well, I can add those minutes onto tomorrow. And then you know what happens? It's 24 to 48 hours before the deadline. Then I'm hustling. And now I'm ready to give everything up. I'm ready to give up eating. I'm ready to give up sleeping. I'm ready to give up hydration. I'm ready to give up everything, turn off my phone, and buckle down for 24 to 48 hours. I will do it. And it's not healthy, it's not good, but I do that every single time, right? But I'm not gonna say that I get from this organized structure to this like panic mode grind structure. It's not like it just happens just like A and B. It's a process, right? So what happens the first time is like the let's start with the beginning reason for why I take the time to structure and lay everything out. Why do we do that? Because we want it to be, we care, we're excited. Who puts all of this, effort into organizing something that they're not even excited about, right? You're excited about whatever it is that you're working on. You want to do it good and you want to do it right. Okay? And so, let me see here. So here we have the word, this is probably backwards. Oh my God. Let me see. I can't get it to focus. Oh, there we go. Procrastination. So that is the starting point. And so what is the root of the procrastination? Perfectionism. Oh, my writing is terrible, y'all. I was brain dumping just now. So my procrastination stemmed from perfectionism, so the perfectionism should maybe be on top. And so perfectionism led to the procrastination. Okay? Perfectionism. Because I wanted it to be just right. I'm so excited about it. I want to give it my best. I want to grow from the experience. So let's talk about not just that, okay? Because the whole reason why I'm here right now recording this video on YouTube is because I want to be better. I want to be better at having discussions and sharing information, knowledge, wisdom. I want to be better at sharing those things. And I realized I won't get better at it unless I get practice at doing it, okay? So that's why I have that board in the room that has 30 plus ideas of topics to talk about, and why I've only done 2 videos since I did that. The one that I did the second day, and then the one that I'm doing today. And this video wasn't even written on the board. I digress. So perfectionism, I'm going to get a new piece of paper. So the perfectionism birthed the procrastination. Okay? I'm going to write this out, y'all. So the perfectionism gave birth to the procrastination. By way of, I don't know. Do I want to say the perfectionism gave the birth, or do I want to say that I don't know. We're gonna just leave those 2 where they are and keep moving because I've been talking too long already. So from there, from the desire to want to do good, right? From the desire to make these videos, and then I did not make another video because the first one that I made, I have not edited. It was so long, I was like, man. And if you ever see this video, hopefully I'll post it maybe today with this one, before or after. That video was about love. It was something about understanding around love. I can't even remember. I recorded it Easter Sunday. It's been a month, I think. Anywho, I did not post it because I have to edit it. I didn't edit it because I'd spend so much time editing. So that's why I've been wanting to make videos that I don't have to edit, because that'll give me one less excuse to make. Okay? I can give myself many excuses. So let me see here. Yesterday, I was in therapy, and I told my therapist, I said, I am one of those people in college when we had to do persuasive writing essays. I would do the persuasive writing. This is what I'm going to write about, and this is all the reasons why it's amazing. And if you did persuasive writing, you're also supposed to address the counter or the rebuttal or whatever the opposite side is going to say, the counter argument, right? I'm really good at addressing the counter argument. And then by being good at addressing the counter argument means I can think of all the other things that everybody else can say, might say, would say, right? And I will think about all of those things. And all of those things that I think about are all the reasons why I don't do anything. And then at the end of a persuasive paper, you're supposed to address the counter arguments and then bring it back to why it is still, sorry, I saw a light spot on my face, why it is still a good idea. Okay? And so in my perfectionism, I get stuck in trying to mitigate all of the, can you stop please with that crinkling? I get stuck trying to mitigate all of those tiny little things, right? If I'm recording a video, oh, well, what about the background? What about the editing? What about the lighting? What about the da 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 da? There's so many things that stop me from even starting. However, I'll say this, nothing is more important than starting, okay? And so we're going to keep going through the process. So we start off with the procrastination, that root from the perfectionism, from wanting everything to be just right, which we put time and effort into that. And then being somebody who was really, really good at thinking of all of the opposite ideas and reasons and logics, and they make a lot of sense, right? You know, like when people say like, well, I need to have the right camera equipment, I need to get the right microphone, da 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 da. What if I don't cover everything? So that's coming into the next part of this. What if I don't cover everything in my video? What if today I want to make a video about what if I want to make a video today about self-medication or procrastination? Let's say that. What if I want to make a video today about procrastination? And what if I don't talk about everything? What if I don't have research to back up? Okay, because that's the thing. I went to college, UW-Madison. They got me and I worked in the research lab. So I am a research fanatic. I love research and science, okay? What if I don't have the research to back it up? What if I don't have studies? What if I don't have the numbers? What if I don't have all of those things to support whatever my conclusion is? You know, even though this is a video, it still is for a purpose. So then I think to myself, well, what if I don't cover everything that there is to cover that I have inside of me? What if I don't get all of it out in that first video? And so that's really a scarcity mindset speaking, right? Because I'm speaking not from a place of abundance, not from a place of evolution, of continuous creativity. I'm speaking from a place of stagnation and scarcity. Because it's like, what do you mean? What if I don't cover everything that there is to cover in one video? Who do I think I am? There's no way that I should be able to cover everything in one video, because I should always be growing so much so that I can come back to this conversation in a month, a year, 2 months, 2 years, 10 years down the line, and be able to speak on the subject from a more enlightened and a more informed, more wiser perspective, right? But for me to have the audacity to think that I have to be able to encompass every single thing in one video or in one project, who do I think I am? Who? I don't know. But that's a scarcity mindset that's speaking, and again, that's coming from the place of perfectionism, okay? And that fuels the procrastination. All right? So what does that become? Once you start having that scarcity mindset spiraling, circling around in the mind, that leads to self-sabotage. Okay? So I have it written. Okay, so we got the procrastination or perfectionism, whichever one you want at the top. Then we have the scarcity mindset. And then we have self-sabotage. Because really that's what that becomes. You're self-sabotaging. That's a self-sabotaging behavior, okay? Procrastination is a self-sabotaging behavior. Perfectionism is a self-sabotaging behavior. If you were going to look at from a yogic perspective, that is an act of violence towards self, because you are holding yourself to such a high standard that you're not allowing room for compassion, for growth, for evolution, and so therefore you're harming yourself. Because you're not allowing yourself the grace that you deserve. You're not allowing yourself the room to grow. That's harmful. Okay? So if we were going to look at you look at from a yogic perspective in the yamas, that is that's not a practice of ahimsa, non-violence, non-harm. Okay? You're not practicing ahimsa if you are practicing perfectionism or procrastination. Okay? And this is not to come from a judgmental perspective. This is to come from a perspective of of deepening the understanding in order to facilitate freedom, liberation, growth, enlightenment around the behaviors that we take part in. Okay. So that brings us into the self-sabotage, which is not a practice of ahimsa. It's the opposite of ahimsa. It is violence towards self. It is harm towards self. Therefore, it is self-sabotaging. Which then guess what? That leads us to analysis paralysis. It's all part of the whole, right? That leads us to analysis paralysis, which is a term that I heard. I don't remember where I learned that word. I learned it a long time ago. Analysis paralysis, which is basically you spend so much time in analyzing everything that you end up paralyzed and just stuck in the mud, stuck in the quicksand. Okay? There's so many things to think about, to consider, to take into account, to do, and then all of a sudden you're doing nothing. Stagnation. Okay? Stagnation. Analysis paralysis. This is probably backwards, but whatever. Stagnation. And what does that get you? You started here with this wonderful, amazing idea, and all of a sudden here you are with a big old fat zero. Nothing has happened. You did all that. You did all of that and ended up with nothing. Okay? And that's how you end up 24 to 48 hours before your project trying to grind it out. And then still producing some really amazing material because you were capable the whole time, but you did not even give yourself the chance or the opportunity to really allow yourself to thrive or to flourish the way you could have because you were so stuck in here. So stuck in here that nothing ever came out. There was never any output until you were met with the deadline. Okay? And so that's what happens, right? That's how you get to 30 days later and you haven't made another video on YouTube. That's how you get to a year in and you haven't been to the gym once. That's how you get to 2 years later and you're still thinking about the business idea that you wish that you would have started, but you didn't. Because you never even took the first step because your mind tricked you into all of the things that could have happened that could have gone wrong. When the truth is that you should expect things to go wrong. Okay, so we're going to move into the opposite. We're going to take this backwards. We're going to reframe all of these thoughts backwards, okay? So that's where your business idea that's been an idea, it never gets to exist outside of the mind. Because your desire for perfectionism. All right, so we're going to reframe those thoughts into the idea, the direction of where we wanted it to go, okay? You know, we can, and we can think about this from the perspective of anything. From nutrition, okay? From the perspective of, man, I want to do a better job of eating and thinking it has to be 0 or 100 when no. It can start by just, instead of having a whole cookie, having a half of a cookie. And then having vegetables with the rest, or having a mandarin orange with the rest, you know, or whatever. Instead of saying, I got to meal prep for 5 days, maybe you meal prep, maybe you just start by chopping vegetables on a Monday. And you don't know what you're going to do with the vegetables, but you chop them, and so now you got to use them, right? Maybe it goes from, I got to read this whole book, I got to read 1 book a month. How about whenever you think about a book, why don't you just pick up a book and open some pages, right? Instead of thinking to yourself, man, I need to... I need to become the best parent ever. How about you just start by addressing one behavior at a time, right? How about instead of I need to, what if you just put $5 in the bank and just don't touch it? There's nothing wrong with making those tiny steps. Small steps become the big steps. You know, if you take 1 step a day for 100 days, now you've taken 100 steps instead of just trying to make one big, perfect, big step. And then making no steps for the next 100 days. You've only made 2 steps in 100 days instead of 1. Why not do the small things? Why not make the mistakes, right? When you're thinking about activism and racism, right? And when you have white folks who want to be more, who want to do more, right? Who want to do more. Instead of being like, oh, I gotta make sure that I use the right language, the right terminology. I gotta make sure that I do this right. I gotta make sure that I don't offend anybody by asking the wrong questions. What if you just try and mess up and then keep trying? What if you had the courage to do that? because you're not exercising any courage, you're not exercising any bravery by being stuck here in the mind. Okay? So let's move backwards down from 0. Let's move that backwards. Let's reshape those thoughts. When I was in therapy yesterday, I can't even remember right immediately off the top of my mind what it was we were talking about. She said something to me, and I said, okay, can you help me? I asked her, I said, can you help me reframe those thoughts then so that I can change the narrative that's existing inside of my mind right now? And so then we went backwards, whatever. We went backwards because I learned that if I can at least understand the process, then I can find another way to trace myself to the direction I want to go in, instead of back into that the cave of the mind, right? Into the cave allegory to Plato's cave, right? Kina's cave, your cave, insert your name, cave, right? Where did the lid to my pen go? Okay, so let's go backwards. So when you go from procrastination to perfectionism to scarcity mindset to self-sabotage to analysis paralysis to stagnation, which lands you into this big old hole of nothing, stuck in the mud, stuck in the quicksand, how do we get out of that quicksand? Wherever you are right now with your goals, let's figure out how to get out of them. What do we need to start with? When you pick up your shovel to dig yourself out, what is your shovel called that you're using to dig out? That shovel is going to be called compassion. It can be called empathy. You can start with a little bit of compassion for self. Make the first scoop. Boom. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to have all of the answers. I don't have to get everything right. Actually, I'm going to lean into failures because that's where I learn the most. I learn the most from my mistakes. I learn the most from my failures. I deserve compassion. I'm going to extend that to myself just as I would extend it to my best friend or to the person who I love the most. How would you talk to the person who you love the most to encourage them to take the first step? If you replaced yourself with that person, what do you say to them? Take the first step. Just make one step. Even if you don't even know that it's right, even if your knees are buckling when you're taking it, even if you're shaking in your boots, can you still make a step in those shaky boots? Okay? Can you? Please? All right? So you start with the compassion. You start to pull in ahimsa. You start to cultivate the non-violence, the non-harm towards self, all right? In order to start to dig yourself out of the mud, out of that hole, out of the cave, okay? And so with that compassion, what are you cultivating? What's happening in your mindset? You're cultivating a growth mindset, okay? I'm just showing you the paper because I'm not going to edit this video. I'm literally going to record and post, okay? Because if I have to edit it, I'm not going to post it. So you're cultivating a growth-focused mindset, which is very different from a scarcity mindset. Okay? A growth mindset. These are all of the ideas that you started with.
I gotta go pee.
Go to the bathroom and then you sit back down. These are all the ideas that you started with, right? When you first had your first idea about your business, when you first decided that you wanted to work on your nutrition goals, when you first decided that you wanted to start building up your cardio, your endurance, when you first decided that you were going to start to recover from insert recovery thing that you're recovering from, when you first decided that you were going to start to heal from your traumas, from the things that have hurt you, when you first decided that you were going to try to start to love again, when you decided that you were going to start working on that business idea, planning that big thing. These are the ideas, okay? And once you start with the compassion, once you start leaning into the possibility of maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I don't know everything. Oh, I don't know everything. So instead of my brain being full with no room for anything else to enter, my brain has room for more. You wait then until he's done, okay? Then go to the bathroom and then you find your way back to your seat. Find your way back to your seat. All right? And I need you guys to stop interrupting me because I'm losing my thoughts, okay? No? You're on an assignment to sit down. And that's what I need you to do. Thank you. My children are in timeout right now because they weren't listening. So anywho, so they're reading. I told them to sit down and read quietly while I record this video. So instead of you entering into anything in life, right? Entering into a relationship, entering into a business venture, entering into a training, entering into anything, exercise plan, thinking that you should have, expecting yourself to have everything already, enter in like this. Because guess what? When you come into your training like this, then you can start to fill up more. You're allowing room for more to be added into you, to be poured into. But you can't pour nothing into something that's already full, okay? And so if you go into your business idea thinking, I'm going to already have all the plans, all the ideas, all of the marketing figured out, all of the everything, I need to have it all, then you're not even allowing room for growth. This is a growth mindset. This is a scarcity mindset. This mindset doesn't have room to receive anything else. And this mindset is so afraid to lose anything that they don't even do anything with it. Okay? This is a survival mindset, which is necessary at times, but you're moving out of your survival mindset. You are moving into a growth-focused mindset. Okay? So allow room for yourself to be poured into. If you have room to grow, then you have room to do more as you learn. You have room to exceed even the boundaries or the limitations of your mind where it is right now. You have room to do the things that you cannot even think of that you can do, that the things that you cannot even imagine as possible right now. Okay? So have the audacity to have a growth-focused mindset. Have the audacity to not have all the answers. Have the audacity to not be perfect. Have the audacity to be willing to get it wrong. Have the audacity to expect to mess up. Have the audacity to do that. Because you know what? If you leave the room in order to do those things, then you will exceed your greatest expectations. You will create room for you to do more as you learn, which turns your perfectionism into something else. It's going to take this perfectionism is going to turn into practice. It turns it into practice. And so I'm asking you today, what is your goal? Is your goal to be perfect, or is your goal to be someone who's consistently practicing? Is your goal to be a person who's gotten a lot of practice? A lot of practice getting things wrong, and also a lot of practice getting things right. A lot of practice taking steps. A lot of practice moving forward. A lot of practice building consistency, building habits, building patterns, building efforts. Practice. So do you want to be a perfectionist or a practicist? A practitioner. Do you want to be a perfectionist or do you want to be a practitioner? Okay. And I will tell you, perfectionism gets you to this big old fat empty hole. But a practitioner gets you to progress and or results. Okay? And I don't know about you, but I know which one is more valuable and useful to me. That's going to be the practice. Okay? So instead of, and this goes in all areas. I mean, even in school, I mean, professors are even satisfied with practice, not perfectionism. I mean, at least to me, that should be the behavior that is cultivated in college, is the act of practice, not perfectionism. But there are those of us, right, who you know, we got to dig into our childhood experiences to understand, why do we feel like we have to have all the answers and have everything just right? You know, it's coming from a loving place. It also comes from a place of survival. It also comes from a place of self-harm and sabotage, okay? And so you need to tap into that child of yours, your inner child, okay? Enter and make touch base with that little you, okay? To see when you first felt like you had to have all the answers. To see when you first were punished, perhaps, for not having all of the answers, for not getting everything right. When were you first punished for that? Okay, and what did you do to try to survive? You did nothing. Probably, maybe, I don't know, maybe you did nothing because doing nothing was better than doing something and getting it wrong. Okay? Coping mechanism, which cultivated perfectionism or procrastination. They're kind of right here. They're one and the same. Which then gave birth to the scarcity mindset, which then created more seeds of self-sabotage. And then the self-sabotage seeds stunted all the growth in that soil, creating analysis paralysis, family member to stagnation, creating home to nothing. And instead you want to plant seeds of practice. Okay? Create the seeds of practice, become a practitioner. Consider yourself a practitioner, maybe not an expert, not a, I don't know if you want to call yourself a professional or not. I don't have a lot of connection to that word. It doesn't really, I guess the word professional doesn't really give me, trigger me either way in the sense of movement in any direction. But maybe it does for you. But just explore, okay? I think I'm about done here. I think I'm done. I think I've exhausted the thought process that's in my mind. And I close this video. I'm gonna close the video out with I'm resorting the beads. Why am I doing this right now? I'm resorting the beads because actually I use these beads to make waist beads, and they're sitting here. I want to close out the video with an invitation to myself to come back to this topic, okay? Whenever I feel like it, whenever I want. I'm going to close the video with an invitation to you, a viewer, listener, person who rode with me on this video to the end. I want to extend an invitation to you to put in the comments below what this looks like for you, and where does perfectionism or procrastination show up in your life, and how does that reframing, tracing it backwards, starting with compassion, ahimsa, non-violence, non-harm, ahimsa, ahimsa, the first yama in yoga, starting with ahimsa. Okay, let that be the mother ahimsa, right? And let the mother ahimsa give birth to growth mindset. Okay, I'm patting my belly here. Growth mindset. Ahimsa, the mother, gives birth to growth mindset. Growth mindset sprinkles seeds into the fertile soil of room to do and to do more as you learn, room to grow. All right, soil that is not overpopulated, that's not overcrowded, soil that has room for the roots to deepen. Okay, and from that soil populated with those seeds of room to grow, room to do more, room to fail, room to mess up, room to make mistakes, because mistakes are really growth opportunities. Failures are really growth opportunities, you know? those seeds become seedlings of practice. They become seedlings of practice. And those seedlings of practice, they grow. Oh, I'm getting chills. Those seedlings of practice, they grow into some of the most beautiful, amazing, unique, one-of-a-kind flowers or blooms, okay? This right here, this is a practice, and it'll unfurl into something so beautiful and variegated as this beauty. And it'll continue to put out more and more and more stems, leaves, more babies, more roots. It will climb, it will grow, but you got to nourish it with that type of fertilizer, compassion, growth mindset, the room, which creates room to do more as you learn, which creates practice, which births results, progress, okay? Love to my flowers, my plants, okay? Water yourself in that way. In the comments, how does this apply to you? What are you working on? Share with me, let me know. I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna leave this phone here. I'm using my phone and upload it right now. I'm gonna upload it right now. What is today? April the 22nd. It's 4:42 p.m. I'm gonna press upload and I'm gonna go to the gym because I gotta go teach a class tonight. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for allowing me to just pour what is inside of me into you, because this is what I felt called to talk about today. None of the ideas on the board spoke to me. This is what spoke to me. Why did it speak to me? This isn't mine. I don't know where this came from. You know, how I sat here and talked to y'all for a half an hour. Don't know. But I'm thankful. And I'm grateful that you're here. And I hope that I was able to give you something from this moment. Love to you. Thank you.